Yes. Yes. I hope you are ready today. I hope you've got the cape fastened, the goggles securely on, because this is the quest for epic engagement. And today we are joined by a magical human being, and I've got the hiccups, obviously, but we're just gonna live through that right now. Okay, the show has to go on. We've got the badass color mystic with us today, and Deborah, who's an amazing individual, has done so many things, has traveled so many roads. I'm grateful that she's going to come and share some of her awesome wisdom for us with us today. Welcome, Deborah. Tell us
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you. Tell you everything. Well, I think I'll run over the podcast, but
Yeah.
I always tell everybody that I've done everything from agribusiness to Zen studio design. And so that's actually kind of helpful in what I do because I can easily relate to my clients that way. Let me give you a quick bite of who I am.
Gotcha.
Um, my business is called Created Life Strategies, and it was built after I lost absolutely everything in 1997. And the steps that I took to reclaim, to restore, and reawaken my life and live it on my terms are what I teach. And so I know it can be done because I did it. And the thing is that we all have a lot of stories that we make up about how things that have happened because as human beings, we need to ascribe a meaning to things. And, a lot of times, if you have this meaning, I have a magic meaning making machine. And what it does is it helps you break apart the part that you made up about it and what actually happened. And then because you made that up, guess what? You get to make up a new one, and one that empowers you instead of victimizes you. So that's part of the process. But anyway, I'm also the reason that I'm the badass color mystic is my signature path. Signature program until recently has been named Walking the Betrayal to Badass Path. And it's stepping stones towards a created life. And but I'm also, in addition to a life coach or life docent, um, I am also a color ray energist, and I work with a spectrum of 9 colors to help you get a better handle on who you be and what you're here for. And so that's me in a nutshell.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yep.
So let's get started. I love the part of, you started with the stories that we tell ourselves and the meanings that we choose for those stories. And having a special meaning making machine. Can you tell us how did you come up with that? And what's it all about?
Um, well, many years ago, when I was in college, back before they invented the electric light,
Right.
um, they had, I went through a psychology class. And one of the things that the professor told us was that people, human beings, they can't help themselves. It's just a natural thing to want to make things mean things. Um, something happens, and you got the reason. There's always a reason. This happened because of this. And my first book I published in 2012, and it's called Disconnect Your Autopilots, and that's OUGHTA pilots. And it's kind of my autobiography, if you will. And
And I
it's
would.
yeah, yeah, and it's based on when all the shoulds and oughtas that keep you from creating your life and robbing you of your ability to choose. Are you living your life for somebody else's disappointment? Parents that wanted you to go to law school and you want to be a musician. They don't ask you what you want. They tell you what they want,
Yeah.
because a lot of times it's because they couldn't do it. But now they have this moldable clay that they created and raised, and oh, you go do it for me. And that whole thing, I mean, pardon my language, but it's bull poop, you know? And the thing is, if you really look at, let's take a betrayal, okay? Say, for instance, you were passed over for a position at work. Yeah, that's a betrayal. Um, you're going to feel betrayed. You're going to feel passed over. You're going to feel less than. Well, if you really, really look at it, what happened, you get, the 5 questions. Yeah. The, who, what, when, where, and how, and all that. Okay. Well, the who and the what and the when and the where are facts. Those happened. There's nothing you can do to change them. That's what happened. But the how and the why you made up, because it made it less painful, or you tell yourself something to make it hurt less. And then the more you look at it, that becomes a fact in your head, that
Right.
this is a truth. No, it isn't. And that's the part that I work on changing, is the how and the why of what happened. Because I'll tell you a secret. I've done an awful lot of betrayal work. And there's always a gift in every betrayal. In everything that you think is a betrayal, there is a gift. And if you are strong enough, courageous enough, brave enough, and determined enough, you can uncover it. It's not easy, and you got to dig through, the onion layers. And that can get kind of painful and confrontive. But if you're willing to look, I can give you an example. The reason that I said I lost everything in 97 is I was raised to expect that my later years would be taken care of. My parents made all these investments. They got me involved. They bought all kinds of things for me. I was an only child. And then my mother passed away. And 2 days after she passed away, and I had taken care of her last 6 months, by the way, gone through the last of my money, because she wasn't capable of signing checks and things. But 2 days after she passed away, the executor of her estate and the sheriff showed up and told me I had 24 hours to leave the premises. And I wound up living on the streets for 3 weeks, because I'd been disinherited and nobody would even talk to me.
Wow.
And I went through, all the stages. I went through looking at the next bus that came across and wondering why I wasn't just walking in front of it and saying, goodbye, cruel world. But then I started looking at my life and what it meant and what was I here for, and why have I accumulated all these weird skills and weird facts along the way? How is that important? It's got to be important for me to have been given all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the more I looked, the more I realized that my mom gave me the best gift she ever could have. And I feel like she had the faith in me that I would land on my feet. And I didn't need to be taken care of. And so, coming from that stand, if you will, or that foundation, um, I then could go out, I could look for a job, I got a car, I got support from the people that I needed. And I was no longer on the streets. And I've spent the next 5 years rebuilding and going through all of the steps that I now teach.
Well, that's a powerful example. I mean, we can't, we can't see the future. We can't protect ourselves against every possible thing that could happen. But I mean, what you're talking about is almost the ultimate in resilience when we can take the facts of the situation and then say the how and the why. uh you know that might not be what we think it is, and maybe it's something
No,
completely different.
I have one process that everybody hates, but it seems to be one of the strongest things that I do. And I have people write their story about the biggest betrayal they can think of.
Hmm.
Write it all down. It take as long as you get. I give them an hour if they need it. Usually they can get it done in a half hour. Write it all down. And then when they get done with that, I tell them, okay, now my favorite 4 words go on the bottom of that. And again, I apologize. But the 4 words that I love is, and it's all bullshit. Do it again. And they rewrite the story and they rewrite the story. And each time they put that, and it's all bullshit on the bottom. And after a while, they'll start giggling because they realize how silly and how small their interpretation of what happened was. Because what they're rewriting is the how and the why. And, after a while, they'll just kind of put their pencils down or pens or whatever they're working with and sit back and they just kind of look at their paper and they start giggling.
Yeah.
And it's the most magical moment I can describe. But people hate the exercise
No,
because
I
it's
wouldn't
really
love that one
confrontive.
either. Let's just
Yeah,
truthfully, like, I that would not the most
because
fun process,
when you
but
put those 4 words at the bottom of the page, it's like negates everything that you thought. It's like, oh, nobody's going to believe me. I'm telling a lie. I mean, there's a lot that confronts in those 4 words because you poured your heart out, you bled on that paper, and I'm here to tell you that not true. Try again. And but if they can work through that, it's like I said, it's one of the most magical moments I can ever describe.
yeah. Whew. Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty that's a pretty eye-opening exercise. How does being a what is being a color mystic, and how does that fit into this whole mix?
Well, I was born with I have synesthesia. And for those people who don't know what synesthesia is, it kind of means that sensory input takes a left turn on its way to the brain, is the easiest way I can put it. There are people who smell music. There are people who see odors. For me, I feel people as a color. When they get near me, I get goosebumps and everything, but my brain interprets it as a color. And so for most of my life, this was natural to me to, if I meet somebody, oh, they're blue, they're green, they're orange. And it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with chakra colors and that sort of thing. It's a different kind of a coloration. And I observed over most of my life that within those 9 colors that I saw people as, there were attributes that they all shared. And I love recognizing patterns. I go after them like crazy. And I kind of categorized, okay, if somebody hits me as a blue, and it really came in handy when I was a sales trainer, because if somebody, I knew how to approach each person and speak their language, so to speak, so that I was incredibly effective because I knew what color they were. And about 15 years ago now, somebody told me that they didn't see like that. And it was mind blowing. I had no idea that that was unique. You know, it's it's like getting a cochlear implant for somebody that's been deaf their whole life, and then the first time they hear, and it's like, you mean this has been going on the whole time? You know, that kind of thing. You know, it's like, this is something that's unique to me. Oh my God, I need to relearn my whole world. And so anyway, I put that actually into a system that I call coloricity. And I was going to write a book about it, but a friend of mine was offering a class, and I always like to take my friends' classes so that at least they got one person in there.
There you
And
go.
they were talking about, oh, do cards instead of a book, do a card deck.
Hmm.
So I created my color cards that I use now to do oracle card readings for people. And I am stunned at how accurate they turn out.
Yeah.
And I've also been able to create a mathematical algorithm that was originally based on numerology that allows me to do their birth charts and see what colors were there when they were born. Because, and what those birth charts give me is who you are in the public eye, who you are, your public face, basically. What motivates you to live the life you do, the way you do. The third one is your secret self, that part of you you keep hidden and protected and you don't share with very many people. And the last thing is your environment, or the lessons you're here to learn. Now, that does not change your whole life long. If you go out there and change your name, as most of us will at some point, we either go by our initials or, stuff, it changes. Um, that's like laying a layer of organza over the original colors. Sometimes the color will shift and you'll get those attributes, but underneath, you're still the same person that you were. And so that's what I do now at like wellness fairs and things like that. I'll do readings and birth charts and have myself a great time. And what I'm doing is I work all that coloricity stuff that I've developed into my pathway. And, I'm not going to call it the betrayal to badass path anymore. I'm looking for a title. And, but what I'm actually bringing out starting in September, is the first part of all of that. Because on the path, you have three parts. I have the toolkit, which gives you the tools that you need to build a foundation upon which you can stand and launch yourself into your created life. And so the only part of it that is a prerequisite is the first part. And in September, I am going to be offering the first part called Who Am I Really? And that uses several, in addition to the natal chart, in addition to the color work, it also uses like Myers-Briggs and dependable strengths and all this kind of stuff to get at your secret self and decide if you want to take them out and teach them to dance.
Wow. That sounds like a heck of a program.
It's going to be fun. That's for sure.
Well, you're involved. It's going to be fun.
And I
Listen,
have
I know
I
that
have my
your
Go Brunch
receptionist.
classroom.
I know that your receptionist is a virtual dragon, and you know what I mean. Like I know. Listen, y'all want to have a good time. Contact DeBorah because she will help you out with that. And many other things. I mean, a lot of these things are there that's really it's really heavy. And you find that, what helps you keep people engaged? What helps you keep people engaged in your programs? And because when there's heavy stuff, sometimes people just want to, avoid it. Maybe they'll go through maybe the first couple of times and then they're like, I'm out of here. And they kind of quiet quit you. How do you keep them engaged?
Um, Well, one is constant support.
Mm,
I mean, there are weekly calls, there are um, groups. I mean, I have, space on my Go Brunch that called the Rainbow Room where people can come hang out and talk to me. There are I'm building in all kinds of support, and the reason that it takes, I mean, I used to do this whole 9 things in a weekend. It was a weekend immersive retreat, and people would come out of there with their minds blown and go on to live these amazing lives. But what I'm doing is I'm breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, and I will do my best that the only confrontation that you're going to meet as you go through this is yourself.
yeah.
And but I will be there to hold your hand the whole way through. So it's not like you'll be alone working on this stuff.
Right.
I mean, if you're here in the Salem, Oregon area or Portland Metro or whatever, you're welcome to do this in person. But if not, my camera is about 13 inches away from me, and I'm
Yeah.
all yours. My Go Brunch room is open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday, and here I am.
Beautiful. And her online space, located in our favorite Go Brunch, is awesome, y'all. You need to see this thing, and you need to meet her dragon receptionist, because
Yes,
his
his
girl
name is Throckmorton.
Throckmorton.
TP
Yes.
Putt Pucket.
Is
Throckmorton
there
Personal
a
Putt Pucket.
so 10 to 5 Monday through Friday? Is that Pacific?
Yes,
Pacific, okay. And will you share the link to me? We'll put the
of
link on
course.
everything for you. Because I just think that's an incredible place to meet you, and get to know, resilience is, we can't we can't force all the storms away in our lives, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, and sometimes money is an impediment.
Yeah, yeah.
um but what we can do is learn how to best keep going after those things happen. And DeBorah is just one of the best teachers that I know, on how to discover your own resilience. And she's also amazing. So y'all, you do need to get to know her. Um, uh, DeBorah, do you have any like parting words of wisdom for the audience today?
I do. One of the one of the biggest lessons that I learned that was really trounced into me during all of my journey: ask for help. Ask for what you want. You deserve it. It's yours. Claim it. Step out and be who you be. Because you know what? You only get one lifetime, and you may as well enjoy yourself while you're here. It's just stuff, everything that's around you, things like run towards failure. Failure is an indication of how close you are to succeeding. It chase it, take a risk, be brave, because you're a magnificent representation of the divine here on earth.
Well, that's a lot of pearls of wisdom. Maybe enough for a string. We're not sure. We'll have to invite you back. But I want to thank you for popping in here and joining me this lovely afternoon.
Oh,
And tell me what you got.
one last thing, just because I love you, RJ. Um, the biggest thing is, if anybody here would like more information about my programs, or if you want to sign up for Who Am I Really, if you call me, I'm offering free discovery calls so we can see whether we fit. But also, if you mention this podcast of where you found out about me, I'll give you a discount on the Who Am I Really.
Nice.
But you got to mention the podcast.
Beautiful. Thank you, DeBorah.
You're
Thank you on
welcome.
behalf of all of my listeners and everybody that we love out there in our community. Thank you, because that it just gives people that extra edge of resilience can bring about so much prosperity in your life, and it can also be with you if that were to go away for any reason whatsoever. And
Only if you
so
forget about it.
exactly.
A lot of
So
times we're unconscious conscious. We're walking around and our lives become rinse and repeat. Everything's in grayscale. And it's just like, time to get some color in there, y'all.
time to put some color in there, y'all. Well, thanks on behalf of everybody. Thanks on behalf of me. Please say hello to Throckmorton.
Oh, of
Uh,
course.
yeah,
He was mad he couldn't
because
come.
yeah, oh yeah. And that is about a wrap for us this week. Y'all, we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. Same bot time, same bot channel. Until then, my friends, take care of yourselves. You're important and your precious cargo. Take care of each other. And that's